Hi, hello, welcome to IS Factors Mains Mindset. This is a writing practice for 2025 UPSC Mains. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this will be in a fix, will be in a dilemma because some of you might have cleared the prelims examination as the result has come. So, congratulations to all the people who have made it to the mains and rest of the people who haven't cleared. I wouldn't use the word fail because I don't believe in UPSC you really fail. You refine yourself. And this mains mindset is our exclusive answer writing program for the mains examination, and it is not a test series because we have seen enough test series. Watch our mains mindset content, you will really understand that how it is a mains, it is more than mains test series. You will actually find it out. This video is actually, the purpose is writing practice. I have included questions. I've got two questions from the current affairs, and this is day one. We are starting day one, and I'll keep continuing it until the mains examination, so that people who watch this is a free content. People who watch it will get adequate dimension about each and every areas from the current affairs. So I'll definitely try to continue, and all the people who haven't cleared the prelims, this is a full circle. Go full circle. I've seen a lot of aspirants who prepare for the prelims, and when the results come, they don't clear the examination. Immediately what they do is they switch to the prelims exam again. They never go through the mains examination. They never study for the mains. They never do the mains mindset. So humble request this side, even if you don't clear the prelims, work on the mains part, at least finish, go a full cycle. Go a full cycle. That is what is ultimately included in this. So go a full cycle is what I wanted to tell you. Okay, so this is it, and give your best. People who are qualified, give your best attempt in 2025. So how this class is, so this is the details of the mains mindset. You can actually get it, contact test. You have a theme radius approach. That is our approach. I'll tell you what that approach is. We'll have maximum questions from each and every area with points. So check out this, and let me also tell you that the thing that I'm going to discuss is not a question answer model. I've got two questions. That doesn't mean that I'm giving you the model answers. No, I'm not giving you the model answers. This is a Q box approach with theme radius approach. I'm trying to give you a question, making you think that such a dimension can exist. And after that, I'll give you feeder points. The feeder points can be used. Say, imagine that from an area, I've given you 15 feeder points. In the original mains examination, you might only need 6 to 7 points, imagine. So I am giving you that dimension. Okay, so this is not a question answer model. Our approach is exclusively what is called as the theme radius approach. Imagine that this is a theme radius. Let's understand. Imagine that we discuss, say, India and Africa relations. You get a question from GS paper to international relations. It's on India-Africa relationship. So this entire theme is your knowledge about Africa, India and Africa. Our attempt is to generate maximum radius, include the maximum things inside this radius, include the number of balls in this. So your theme radius is better. See, imagine that you have around close to 25 best points in this. And when the question in the examination comes for India, Africa, you only need around, say, 8 to 9 points. You can easily take the best points out of this. This is a good strategy for mains because 13,000 people write the examination. Only your answer should stand out. You need to put the best points inside this to clear this examination. So theme radius will create maximum themes. And in this, I've included current affairs. Okay, so current affairs is a very dynamic thing. So I've included current affairs. So this is the theme radius approach. Two questions for the session. One is examine how India's engagement with the Asian Development Bank over the years has supported its development objectives. Critically evaluate evolution, achievements, challenges, and strategic importance of this partnership. So the question has a lot of parts. I'm not going to break out this question. My attempt is to increase your theme radius. Okay, and let's see the second question also. One is about the Asian Development Bank, and the second question is regarding the integral humanism advocates. It's an ethics question. Integral humanism advocates balance between material well-being and spiritual development. How can this philosophy inform India's efforts towards inclusive growth, ethical policy making, economic disparity. So what is integral humanism? You need to know about this. It's a balance between material well-being and spiritual development. How can this inform India's efforts towards, first is inclusive growth, number one. You need to write about the ethical part and then the economic disparity. So this is also current affair question. So we will deal two questions, and you know why this question is important? Because it is important from the perspective of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and abroad. From the world, there is a question like this, the area that has been involved in this. And now let's go into the question. The question on ADB. The key important thing is you need to know why this question. You know why I've asked this question? Because current affairs, I'll give you the reasons why I've included this question. Recently, you can just see the 1st June 2025, you can see ADB president announces 10 billion plan for India's urban transformation. There is a news. Prime Minister Modi from Hindu, you can see an article. Prime Minister Modi meets ADB president Masato Kanda. So it is supporting the ambition of Vikasit Bharat by 2047. So definitely this is the reason why I've created this question. So this is the reason why this question has been asked. Now before you answer this question, now let's understand what are the important things that we need to. Most of the points, I've got a PDF from Asian Development Bank. It is called the Country Partnership Strategy, which is called the CPS. India 2023-2027. Catalyze robust, climate resilient and inclusive growth. This is a PDF. It's almost 35 to 40 pages. You can see the points here. ADB and India's objective, government priorities, contribution to 2030 strategy. Whatever points that I've included is actually from this PDF. So read it. That is why I'm increasing your theme radius approach. Ready? So before you answer this question, before I give you the feeder points of this, it's very important that you know how to work on this. So obviously understand, first of all, you need to know. Let me remind you, I'm not going to dictate a model answer like this is the introduction content. No, I'm going to tell out the most number of points for you. So first of all, you need to know exactly what ADB is all about. How from 1960s ADB is actually helping. And India, since it's a starting member from 1960, how India has also evolved with Asian Development Bank and the other important functions of Asian Development Bank. And in mains examination, it's also very, very important to show the data. You need to give out the data. If you can write important data or important examples in the answer paper, your answers really will stand out. So in Indian context, how has ADB supported with the examples of, we'll cite out some examples. So I think this is the strategy is very clear. So let's slowly understand about ADB and let's move on to the important content here. So first of all, always understand India has been a founding member of ADB since 1966, and it has evolved to support India's development objectives through financial assistance, etc. So you can even see India founding member of ADB. It's actually from the Hindu. I've taken this screenshot. It is one of its largest borrower. It's a steadfast partner. You can use such words like India as a steadfast partner of the ADB. And now let's see an important thing. And even ADB's function is actually very, very different over the years. You can actually see this over the years. And number one, in the 1960, the objective, initially most of the banks in those times, the objective was to fund infrastructure projects. And after 2000, 2010, the most important banks have started to go beyond the infrastructure content. They have started to go beyond the infrastructure products like climate change, decarbonization, job creation, larger things. So we'll actually go through that. ADB's initial activities was a multi-level development bank, and 1966 it's headquartered in Manila and Philippines. So all these are important. You should know about this. And its aim is to foster economic growth, reduce poverty. So India has criticized ADB that it is not working more on reducing poverty, sustainable development in the Asia Pacific region. So this is an introduction. To know what is about, you should have an idea what exactly is the ADB bank with us. And now let's look at some of the key activity. Not learning it, I'm just giving you the most important point. Obviously, as a bank, ADB, it will give out loans, grants and equity investment. So what is the area? Let's understand. It's for the member countries for development projects. Obviously, it's correct. Let's see. transport, energy, urban development, digital connectivity, energy, disaster resilience, carbon reduction, education, healthcare, social protection, programs and trade economy, technical assistance. So it comprises a lot of objectives. Lot of areas are covered by ADB. Initially the thrust of ADB in the 1960s was only infrastructure. Slowly it has changed. So remember, activities is they give loans and grants to many projects. This idea should be very clear in your mind. And moving on to the next important content. After that, let's go into the next important content. What are the key points? Before the key points, let's understand this major transition period. Let's see the major transition period here. Yes, look at the initial phase. In 1966-90s, it was basically on infrastructure, including roads, irrigation, and energy. And after 2000 to 2010, it actually went into urban development, financial sector reforms, and climate resilience. And the current phase, which is called the CPS. So remember, when you see the ADB, you should remember this keyword called CPS, the Country Partnership Strategy, which aligns with India's long-term project. So CPS is supporting India in its long-term project by climate resilience, job creation, regional cooperation, right from infra now to CPS. From 60s to CPS, you should remember this point very clearly. It's a good vocabulary, CPS. So initially after 1960s, India has been helping, and now the current country partnership strategy of the CPS focus on all the aspects. And let's look at some data. This is what I said, data are very important. Committed to 10 billion over 5 years for urban transformation and metro expansion. What is TOD? See, from this you get a lot of other questions in the for the mains also. So we will discuss. I'll tell you what you mean by TOD. What is a TOD framework? And events in Nagpur, Indore, all this. So $10 billion is being given for India in the future. So let's get some data also. And very important, what is EC? All these can be an individual questions also, so mind it. East Coast Economic Corridor, $500 million. So it is, what is EC? It is actually a coastal corridor, very important. It is a coastal corridor. EC is a very important coastal corridor under the Sagarmala Act East policy. So this is also ADB funded, and even it has also funded the RRTS. What do you mean by RRTS? High Speed Railway. The Delhi Meerut line has also been funded by, and also India has received 52.6 billion in public sector loans along with 8 billion in private sector investment. So these are some data that you can include in the ADB funding. Obviously, they are helping us in the social sector as well as the climate focus. So already we have received sovereign loans around close to 4 billion across energy, transport, and urban health. And over 60% of the sovereign, the 4.2 lending in 2024 directed to climate financing with national goals. So the fund received by ADB has also been diverted to the climate related thing. So that's an important point. So please do not forget to include certain vocabularies. When you get ADB, make sure you write about decarbonization, because ADB supports energy transition, decarbonization, disaster risk management or disaster risk reduction. 1, 2, 3 points. Imagine if you have these 3 points, try to bring these 3 points in your answer paper. It will really make your answer stand out. Decarbonization. This time prelims also they ask this question. And obviously the important model of PPP. Because it is also important for the mains examination, because there is something called investment models. So PPP models, obviously you can take a look at the Andhra Pradesh and Tripura, all are using PPP model. And remember, you should also remember another important vocabulary that you can add here is the SASEC. What is ADB SASEC? South Asia Sub-Regional Economic Corporation. Very important. South Asia Sub-Regional Economic Corporation, or the SASEC, is also a part of this. So you remember, now you have a lot of vocabulary to add. SASEC is also a part of this. And now let's get the mains mindset. What do you mean by mains mindset ultimately? For any issue that you get, are you able to generate 5 positive and 5 pros and cons? That is the key challenge. We do not learn this way, because every UPSC aspirant, most of the time you only learn according to the mains prelims perspective. Take any issue. I'm giving you a question on stem cell. Can you tell me 5 important positives and 5 negatives? Likewise, you have to develop your mind. Let's take the positive mindset. Obviously, what is the positive about ADB? Large scale financing of infrastructure and urban development projects are happening only because ADB is supporting us. And a lot of things like corridors, TODs are coming in. The ease of doing business is better. And green growth, this time also because they are funding a lot of things on climate resilience. Since they are funding on climate resilience, this is also very important. And EC, RRTS, lot of other things are also pros. And now let's get this thing correctly. You need to know what exactly are all these things. Let's have an idea. Let's take this. What is transit oriented development or TOD? This can also be a question in GS paper 3 infrastructure. So it is an urban planning and development model that focuses on creating compact, walkable, mixed-use community centered around. So you create a compact, walkable, mixed-use community on the basis of a public transportation system. So the public transportation system is here. You actually create it like this, like BRTS, suburban rail, metro, etc. So transit-oriented development. So transit is the key word. So this is TOD. A lot of TOD projects are part of the ADB system. And now let's see East Coast Economic Corridor. India's first coastal economic corridor being developed with the help of ADB. Right from Kolkata, you can say right from Kolkata, you come all the way to Kanyakumari in the south. So remember, even East Coast Economic Corridor can also be a question. You can definitely, whenever there is a question coming, you can use these important keywords in your answer. So this is why it is very, very important. And rapid, what is RRTS? RRTS is a high-speed rail system designed to connect major cities like Delhi. Like the Delhi Meerut is an RRTS operating under this. So RRTS means this. And what are, at the end of the day, what is the most important challenges, which is also part of the question, and what is the negatives? So rising sovereign loans, obviously, imagine India is taking a lot of money from different banks. You take a lot of money, that means all of this money is debt. You're taking loans, that means you have to repay it. Even if you don't repay, you have to give a lot of money as interest. So when you pay back interest, definitely economy is suffering. So this is an important thing economy will suffer from. And often you say bureaucracy, red tape, etc. A lot of projects will actually slow down. And this is a complex risk. Who will favor? Is the private or public? Because models like PPP, when the models come, there's a lot of criticism which says that it is not the government which is actually favoring, it is the private party which is involved in this project who will benefit. Like there's a lot of criticism. PPP, not from ADB, but you can say the Vilnius project in Trivandrum. It's actually funded by Adani. So a lot of people say Adani will misuse it. So this criticism will always come whenever there is a loan. So, and India has cautioned ADB that ADB is now neglecting poverty because a lot of other infrastructure or other projects are coming up. So they say that they are not funding poverty well. So this is a criticism. And benefits concentration in select regions. You can say most of the development happens in metro cities, urban places. So you can say development will not reach rural areas. It is not that zero development is happening in rural areas. But when you get a lot of funds, most possibly you can see the development happening in the urban areas more. So this can create a conflict. So these are the important contents of the ADB. See, whatever you have got, take as a theme radius. Include all this in your points. Whenever there is a question coming up, you can definitely use it different ways. Okay. Now let's go to the ethics question. Integral humanism advocates a balance between material well-being and spiritual development. How can this philosophy inform India's efforts towards inclusive growth, number one, ethical policy making, number two, and reducing economic disparity? So first of all, you need to know integral humanism is a philosophy. Obviously, it's a philosophy. What is that philosophy? And how is it balancing well-being and spiritual development? So first of all, you need to get some basic ideas correct. So this is actually created by Deenadayal Upadhyaya, who was a former, a very formidable force behind the BJP's philosophical idea. This is also a current affair question. Let me first show you why this question is important. Take a look at this. The roots of Deen Dayal Upadhyay's integral humanism, and even DD News, Government of India's official portal. Integral humanism is not a complex philosophy, it is the essence of Indian thought, Minister says. So, when you get a philosophy like this, definitely you should answer this. And before explaining this philosophy, let's know who this person is. Because integral humanism, you need to know who this person is. So, Pandit Deenadayal Upadhyaya, you can see Deenadayal Upadhyaya, born in 1916. So, the timeline is that. He's an Indian philosopher, economist, and political leader who, I told, it was a formidable person who shaped the philosophy of Bharatiya Janata Party. Previously, it was the Bharatiya Jana Sangh. Leaving aside politics apart, the concept of integral humanism definitely should be learned. Because apart from the philosophy, let's learn that. And now let's understand what is the concept of integral humanism first. Before we answer this question, let's understand. It is, and before that, let me also clearly mention, give you a small idea regarding this. What is the concept? Because it's very simple. You need to know there are two important aspects that you should remember. One aspect is we always measure everything in terms of wealth, or example, we mention in terms of economy, we measure it in terms of political, at anything. We say India's GDP is better, GDP is growing, we'll be a 5 trillion economy by this year, we'll be Vikasit Bharat by this year. So wealth, do not judge everything only with the idea of wealth, economy, political, etc. There is also another important aspect called as the soul or the spiritual angle or a self angle, from a mind angle. So this is a balance. So I hope you got this. This is the concept of integral humanism. Do not always say that I've got a lot of examples to be said. We say the public distribution system in India. Imagine, everybody gets fair ration, everybody gets affordable food, grains, etc. from the public distribution system. We say the public distribution system is absolutely good. Okay, it's performing well. Since PDS is functioning well, we say that the public distribution system is a great success. This is correct from an economic or a wealth concept, or from an administration efficiency. But look at that. What is the ethical or the spiritual sense? What is the ethical angle involved in this PDS system is, we would say PDS is only successful when the leakage, there is a lot of leakage in PDS system. The PDS system is not functioning well in some areas. There is large scale corruption. So you should say PDS system is successful not in terms of the coverage, but look at the ethical intent. That is the word. Look at the ethical intent. When there is no leakage, when there is no corruption involved in the PDS system, I would say PDS system is perfect. So it's not coverage. It is the other way around. I hope this thin line is separate. This philosophy or the concept of learning is called the ethical, you can call it as the integral humanism. So this is the most simple way of telling you. Okay, so this is this angle. Now I think you will understand this concept clearly. Now let's take a look at this. It is proposed by Deenadayal Upadhyaya. It's a philosophy that emphasizes balanced approach to life, ensuring material progress, ethical governance, and spiritual well-being. I think you might not have clicked it. Let's take it. It rejects extreme capitalism and socialism. So they do not believe in that. Let's take another very, very simple example. It promotes balanced approach to life and governance. Okay, it emphasizes that economic growth, social welfare, and spiritual well-being should go hand in hand. So at one point you need to know welfare, you need to go social, or economic should go with the spiritual well-being. Both of them should go hand in hand. You can even draw this diagram also. It should go hand in hand. So this is the theory. Now let's see, the core idea of this is a person is not just an economic being. We normally say he's an economic being. No, integral humanism believes that it is not only an economic being, there are other important ideas like one, body, the physical well-being, the sharira, the mind or the mana, intellect, buddhi, and soul and atma. So truly developed society must nurture all these aspects together rather than focusing on wealth and power. A society which is always working hard for creating wealth and power, it should also focus on body, mind, intellectual atma, which is actually putting it spiritual So spiritual development or ethical development should also happen apart from the economy or wealth and power, etc. That is the most important point here. Let's take some examples of humanism in action. Integral humanism. The concept of economic of self-reliance or Swadeshi. See, back in 1905 when the partition of Bengal came, the Swadeshi and boycott movement was very popular. Likewise, it is not this. Instead of relying on foreign imports, we should work on Khadi, MSME, create more jobs like Make in India, etc. More economic self-reliance. Rather than getting it done, there is a spiritual development which is owned, ethical intent. Decentralized governance like Grama Swaraj, give more powers to the villages. Panchayati Raj, more powers to the villages are also a part of this. Very, very important. And balanced development. See, rather than focusing on urban growth, policies like PM Kisan and rural electrification can ensure equal development of all village and society. So there is an equitable development. Ethical leadership. Leaders should prioritize public welfare or personal gain. So these are all ethical aspects. Like for RTI, for accountability is a part. So likewise, there are many other points, and take a look at this. Let's discuss another important point here. So the question asked about inclusive growth. So you should also know what is the meaning of inclusive growth. Inclusive growth simply means growth of all the sections of the society, rich, poor, urban, rural, etc. Everybody should grow. It's not that only this group of people grow. There is only three groups of people, only they should grow. Everybody benefits everyone, not just a select few. Wealth, opportunity, resources are fairly distributed across the society, helping every class. So how is it working? See, government must focus on the most marginalized tribal farmers like Lakpati Didi Yojana, Prime Minister Awas Yojana, all are examples of integral humanism. Beyond GDP, let's see the growth beyond GDP. How about that perspective? Policy should be people-centric and not market-centric. It should encourage compassionate economy, not exploitative capitalism. So these are all important things. A compassionate economy, not exploitative capitalism. More MSMEs, Khadi, etc. So these are important. Vocal for local. This is a very, very important vocabulary. We talk about the root level things. Vocal. Speak. Voice for the local. See, when you hear the vocabulary, it is not a new vocabulary. When you say vocal for local, it is actually integral humanism itself. Get this idea? And dharma before utility. Policy success is not just in delivery, but in ethical intent. Very, very important. This can also be a question. Ethical intent is very important. Like I said, PDA schemes reduces leakage, not just logistics. If it is a successful thing, it should reduce leakage. And obviously, Grama Sabha, etc., the points that we discussed, dharma before utility, get that point. And some of the way forward is very, very important. Treat integral humanism not as an ideological stuff. Treat it as a developmental framework. This is very, very important. Rather than just saying that this is a philosophy, you should use this philosophy in the developmental process. So, developmental framework. Include it in the education, rural development, women growth, spiritual values can even create better health policies, climate action. So spiritual values and ethical intent are also very, very important. So this is the way forward for this thing. I think we have discussed two major important. I think now you have got the theme radius. See, whatever themes that you have got from this, whatever themes, ideas, points that you have got from this, you can use it in many of the answers. That is the purpose of this. We'll see in the next session. Okay, so do practice it and do join for the mains mindset program if you're preparing for the mains. I hope you got an idea about what we are doing here. Okay, so thank you so much. Let's really work on that. Thank you. Do subscribe to our channel also.